जय कुञ्ज बिहारी जय राधा माधव जय कुञ्ज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदनन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन यशोदनन्दन व्रजजनरञ्जन जमुनातीरावनचारी जमुनातीरा वनचा वनचारी जय राधा माधव जय कुञ्ज बिहारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा गिरिधारी श्री राधे जय राधे जय राधे जय श्री राधे जय गिरि गोवर्धन जय गिरि गोवर्धन जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा जय गौरानिताय जय गौरानिताय निताय गौर हरि बोल निताय गौर हरि बोल जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव जय जय गुरुदेव निताई गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि बोल श्री प्रभुपाद की जय. So we'll begin with reading from Srila Prabhupada Leelamrita. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai. By Krishna's grace, on the afternoon of Srila Prabhupada's second day in the hospital, he showed slight improvement. His heart was still causing him pain. His facial expressions remained grave, with never a smile, but he was a bit stronger. The interns, nurses, doctors came and went on schedule, treating him impersonally. One doctor did seem a little interested in what Prabhupada was all about, and at Prabhupada's request, Kirtanananda played a tape lecture for the doctor. He listened politely, but then said, "It doesn't ring a bell." The doctor said he wanted to run a few more tests and that Swamiji might be able to leave after a few weeks. If all went well, Srila Prabhupada tried speaking to the doctor, wanting to explain about Krishna. Jadurani had brought two of her paintings to the hospital room, one of Radha and Krishna, another of the fierce half lion, half man incarnation, Lord Narsimha, tearing apart the demon Hiranyakashipu. Speaking in a very low voice, Prabhupada said that these two pictures show how God is many sided. Here, He is in His loving exchange, and here also we see that anger comes from Krishna or God. The doctor politely said that he had his own philosophy and that Swamiji shouldn't be preaching while in such weak health. He should rest. Advising the disciples not to allow their guru to speak, the doctor excused himself and continued his rounds. Srila Prabhupada, with his slight improvement, expressed more disapproval of being in the hands of the hospital personnel. They weren't able to do anything, he said. Krishna was in control. If Krishna wants to kill you, then no one can save you. But if Krishna wants to save you, then no one can kill you. Damodara. I was there when the doctor came in to check his reflexes. There was the usual tapping in the with a little rubber hammer on his knee, that kind of thing. Swamiji was visibly annoyed with this man's coming in and tapping him all over. He was capable of diagnosing and giving the prescription for the cure, and it annoyed him that these men, who obviously didn't know what they were doing, were coming in and interfering with the process of recuperation. Achyutananda. The nurse always let the door slam, and every time it slammed, Swamiji would wince. He said, "Tell her not to slam the door." She would say, "Okay," and then she would let it slam again. Srila Prabhupada began sitting up in bed and taking prasadam from the temple, supplemented by some of the vegetarian items in the hospital menu. He would say a prayer and offer the hospital food to the picture of his spiritual master. The devotees would sit at his feet, watching him as he then mixed with his right hand the carrots, peas, and mashed potatoes, and that he would always distribute some of his food into the hands of his disciples. Jadurani. We brought him many kinds of fruits, many different kinds of fruits. We told him we had brought apples, but he was so tired he only said, "Oh," and seemed disinterested. We told him we had brought oranges, but again, "Oh." He said he gave so many tired ohs and he seemed disinterested. Finally, I said, "We brought you watermelons," and immediately his face lit up. "Oh, Jai Srila Prabhupada, what a beautiful description it is." So, Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam's reading and realizing session. Our verse today is 431:6. यदादिष्टं भगवता शिवेनादोक्षजेन च तद्गृहेषु प्रशक्तानां प्रयसाक्षपितं प्रभो. So this is such a beautiful verse. Before we sing, let's do the invocation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Shringvatam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanam Hridyantasto hi abhadrani vidhunoti sruhit satam नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमा श्लोके भक्ति भवति नैष्टिकी. So we'll sing this verse again. Yadadishtam bhagavata शिवेनादोक्षजेन च तद्गृहेषु प्रशक्तानां प्रयासः शपितं प्रभो यद् आदिष्टं भगवता शिवेनादोक्षजेन च तद्गृहेषु प्रशक्तानां प्रयासः शपितं प्रभो यद् आदिष्टं भगवता शिवेनाधोक्षजेन च तद्गृहेषु प्रशक्तानां प्रयासः शपितं प्रभो. Jai. Is there anyone who would want to read recite the verse?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandot Pranam.
Krishna Prabhu Danvat Pranam.
Yadadishtam Bhagavata Shivena Adakshajena Cha Tadgriheshu Prashaktanam Praesha Shapitam Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavad Pranam. I also try.
Yes, Prabhu.
Jathadishtam Bhagavata Shivena Adakshajena Cha Jadgriheshu Prashaktanam Prayashaha Shopitam Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. Is there anyone else?
Taji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Pranams.
Yad adishtam bhagavata shivena dakshajena cha tadgriheshu prashaktanam prayasah kshapitam prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Pranam. I
Hare
am also
Krishna.
trying.
Yes,
Jad
please.
adishtam bhagavata shibenadho ajaksena cha tadgriheshu prashaktan shapitam prabho.
Hare Krishna Vita Danvat Pranam.
Pranam Mataji.
Yad adishtam bhagavata sivenadhokshajena cha tatagृहेषु prashaktanam prayesha chapitam prabhu. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Okay, so we can read synonyms, translation, and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Yat, what? Adishtam was instructed. Bhagavata, by the exalted personality. Shivena, Lord Shiva. Adhokshajena, by Lord Vishnu. Cha, also. Tat, that. Griheshu, to family affairs. Prasaktanam, by us who were too much attached. Prayashaha, almost. Shapitam, forgotten. Prabho, O Master. Translation: O Master, may we inform you that because of our being overly attached to family affairs, we almost forgot the instructions we received from Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu. Purport: remaining in family life is a kind of concession for sense enjoyment. One should know that sense enjoyment is not required, but one has to accept sense enjoyment in as much as one has to live. As confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 1 to 10, Kamasya Nendriya Pritihi. One has to become a Goswami and control his senses. One should not simply use his senses for sense gratification. Rather, the senses should be employed just as much as required for maintaining body and soul together. Srila Rupa Goswami recommends anasaktasya vishayan yatharham upayunjatah. One should not be attached to sense objects, but should accept sense enjoyment as much as required and no more. If one wishes to enjoy the senses more than required, he becomes attached to family life, which means bondage. All the Prachaitas admitted that their fault in remaining in household life. Very, very beautiful and enlightening purport and translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानञ्जनाशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यामनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम् वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं सागरजातं सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कान्त राधाकान्त नमोऽस्तु ते तप्त काञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते वीरकृष्णदास गोस्वामिनिति नामिने नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे जय श्री प्रभुपाद की जय श्री गुरुदेव की जय So the translation says, O Master, may we inform you that because of our being overly attached to family affairs, we almost forgot the instructions we received from Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu. I will stop sharing the screen here. We see that in this chapter, this being the last chapter, where Narada instructs the Prachetas in these verses from 1 to 8, when Prachetas, in the first two, we see that the Prachetas were retiring. They renounce their kingdom and they meet Narada. So the Prachetas retire after living at home for thousands of years. They finally remembered the Lord's blessings and left home. And they left home, leaving Marisha in the care of the Daksha. And the Prachetas went to the seashore where the sage Jajali was residing, and after perfecting the spiritual knowledge of equanimity towards all living entities, the Prachetas became perfect in Krishna consciousness. Then we see Narada's arrival in verse 3. Mm, and the link from both the chapters come as the Lord tells that the Lord told the Prachetas in verse number 18 of 30th chapter that they would become disgusted with their kingdom and attain him. That prediction comes true in this chapter, and the Prachetas are now detached from the kingdom and they leave for the forest. And how do they leave? By the power of bhakti, by bhakti, which is described by Narada Muni to attain Krishna. So in verse 3, when Narada arrives, with Narada's arrival, while the Prachetas were practicing pranayam, Narada, who's worshipped both by the demons and the demigods, Narada comes to see them. And then the Pracheta uh, offer their asanas, they inquire and they glorify. In verse 5 yesterday, they all the Prachetas began to address the great sage Narada. "O great sage, O Brahmana, we hope you met with no disturbance while coming here. It is due to our great fortune that we are now able to see you. By the traveling of the sun, people are relieved from the fear of the darkness of night, a fear brought about by thieves and rogues. Similarly, our traveling is like your traveling is like the sun's. For you drive away all kinds of fears." So this material world indicated that the material world itself is like everyone is afraid of dark, and he's described as you're like the sun. So it's their good fortune to see Narada Muni. Um, his movements, Narada's movements are like that of suns. When the sun travels, uh, there's this movement of fear as well from the darkness and the fear, and we come to the light. So in sixth verse, we are talking about family attachments here. So it's a beautiful description till now of how Prachetas have renounced their kingdom and have met Narada Muni. So family attachments is um, they're just telling. Um, so they're addressing Narada Muni, um, and addressing him as son, and telling them that they're being overly attached to family affairs. They have forgotten the instructions that they've received from Lord Shiva and Lord Vishnu, which in reality is their practice of humility, because in actuality, Prachetas have been following the instructions of Narada in the previous chapters as well. They are elevated souls. They are very elevated souls, and they didn't get too attached to their family life or the family affairs, and they didn't forget the instructions. But because of the humility, they are saying so. How do we know this? That they're humble, and that it is being said out of humility. Because in the previous verses, they've been remembering um, all these asanas, pranayams are done for the constant remembrance, for the ability to constantly remember the Lord. So these the yoga asanas, they in the verses, and they manage to control their life, air, mind, words, external vision, etc. So thus by pranayam process, they are completely relieved of material attachments. And they've been performing a lot of yagnas in the previous chapters as well, and Narada visited them and instructed them. So all these indicate that they haven't forgotten, but it is their humility uh, to attain more instructions uh, from Narada, so that they can be fixed in increasing their remembrance of the Lord. In the purport as well, Srila Prabhupada mentions that when we are overly attached due to sense enjoyment towards sense object, we are in bondage. So what kind of bondage is it? And there is no more remembrance. And why is there no more remembrance? Because we are busy we're very busy in satisfying our senses, the desires of our senses. So that is the reason of our fall down. So this purport actually gives us a couple of insights where uh, where we understand that remaining in family life is a kind of concession for sense enjoyment. So this means that grahastha ashram is uh, gives us the license to have our sense gratification, but there is a subtle understanding here that one should know that sense enjoyment is not required. So this means we are creating that sense enjoyment. Why? Similarly, as the material world, we want in the material world, we have the tendency to lord over everything. So what can come as understandings is number one, it can be overly attachment to or overly attachment to family affairs leads us to or attachment to the senses or sense gratification leads us by the end of our life, it leads us to coming to zero. uh, and everything that we have should be utilized in Krishna consciousness, not in selfish sense gratification. Why I'm saying this selfish? Because when there is this factor of I and me and my needs and my desires, we are forgetting, we are distancing ourselves from Krishna. This does not mean that we don't have to take care of our needs. Now, needs is different from wants. The body needs a certain amount of good food to nourish. That is not sense gratification. And in this also, there's one more reflection that comes, which is the instruction of the spiritual master can be delayed, but is not forgotten. So, for example, when we see in Srila Prabhupada's life, in his Grihastha ashram, he received his instruction from his Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Goswami Maharaj. He got the instruction to go to the West and uh, preach, write books. So it took him many years of preparation to do that. It doesn't mean that the instruction that is given to us, it can be delayed, but it is not forgotten. So as grahastas, we have got our own instructions. The first instructions that we have got uh, is to be always in connection with Srila Prabhupada. At the time of initiation, all of our spiritual masters have been focusing on this to stay connected with ISKCON, to stay connected with the mission of ISKCON, which is to stay connected to Srila Prabhupada and closely follow what his desires are, what his mission is, and support him in his mission. So as grihastas, They are the caretakers of other ashramas as well. Therefore, for them, this sense gratification, the kind of concession for sense enjoyment is given so that they can support others. What sense enjoyment are we talking about here? Of earning money, of holding a property, or uh, having responsibilities around family. If we don't have these, then we won't be able to serve the other ashramas. So household life is considered a license. Therefore, but the downside is if Krishna is not the center of that household life, there's always a danger of falling in the dark pitch of sense enjoyment, because the nature of the material world is that the very nature of material world is to bind us in the three modes of material nature. So therefore it's very difficult to come out. It's very difficult to come out uh, of the clutches of Maya, which Srila Prabhupada often says that um, my disciples, in his lectures and interviews, he has often said that my disciples are not very fearful of Maya, and that is my fear. Srila Prabhupada also mentions the two in many of his texts. Srila Prabhupada has mentioned that there's difference between grihastha and grihamedha. So grimedi life, that's household life. Grihastha is also household life. Both can have family life, but Grihastha life should be centered around spiritual practices, whereas Gramedi life is all based upon material attachment of me, my, and my power. And so sometimes I just wonder, sometimes if we actually have to, sometimes when we are in the association of devotees, in the association of scriptures, we often forget the reality of life. And if we have to actually see the reality of life sitting at home itself, we can get attached to the sense gratification. How? Just by watching TV, for example. When we watch TV, we often see a very beautiful picture of material life, but at the same time, we also see the darkness of the material life. So these movies from all over the world are actually telling us the reality of material life, the differences of the minds that we all have. So they give us the true face of nature, even if sometimes we are in illusion, thinking that material life is safe and I'm safe under the shelter of the holy name. Even if now, isn't it fascinating for us that even if we are even if we are chanting so much with offense, we feel protected. Isn't it amazing to see that if we start chanting offenselessly, how would that be? So material outside outside of this safety net, we see that there's a stark reality of material world, and material nature goes according to its nature. So material nature is dark, and therefore we are very much fond of getting into that. Before darkness, there's a lot of attraction. So the point to consider here is that it is not, grihastha life is not a concession for sense enjoyment or a license for sense enjoyment, but it's also that grihastha life is full of danger, because it keeps one from forgetting Krishna because of the duties that we are bound in. Uh, but what is the guarantee that other ashramas, for example, brahmachari ashram, yeah, or sannyas ashram, all these, what is the guarantee that uh, that one is not in danger? There is no guarantee, because because Grihastha tells us that a number of people come together, they live in together with attachments. So, but every one of us is in danger. So after we are all, or let's say when we are all after sense enjoyment, this becomes more of a curse than a blessing. Even if we feel satisfied after our needs are fulfilled, but it becomes more of a curse than a blessing. How? Because it is that taste which keeps us going back and back into the same cycle. It's a vicious cycle, and it is more binding than liberating. So Srila Prabhupada also mentions that the senses uh, are so demanding that even if we fulfill it once, it will keep asking for more. It's like the mouth of fire, which keeps growing. So we have to be sufficiently anxious. Anxiety sometimes is considered really harmful, but there is a good anxiety as well. So we have to be sufficiently anxious of the attack of Maya. However, why are we not afraid? Because we are very complacent, and we're very inattentive towards spiritual life. So because we take spiritual life for granted, we take our feelings of, like as I said, we feel really sheltered. Um, we feel really sheltered, and we say, oh, I can do anything now. Because we are not in that stage of where we are purely chanting the holy names, we're still getting the benefits. So in that protection, we feel that uh, this mercy, this endeavor is not because of our chanting or uh, our being you know uh, thinking that we are the ones who are controlling ourselves. No, we aren't. So just let's put this a little bit, let's put our attention to this aspect where we actually think that because of our offensive chanting, we feel protected. How would that be if we start chanting offenselessly? So that's another place of discussion. But because of our present scenario, with the offensive chanting, we feel protected because there's this mercy of Krishna and Srimati Radharani on us, and the magnanimous mercy of Sri Gauranitai. So, and most importantly, the mercy that flows continuously from Srila Prabhupada towards us, that even with offensive chanting, we feel protected. Now, feeling protected does not mean we are out of danger. It means that there is somewhere we are quite complacent in our spiritual life, and we are quite inattentive to our spiritual life. Therefore, by the mercy, we are protected till now. But what is our endeavor and what is our effect? I don't know why I'm running words out of words today in my head. Out of this is this is not out of our endeavor. It is all because of the mercy of their lordships, and most importantly, the mercy of the pure devotee Srila Prabhupada and our gurus. But we may be attacked anytime, provided what our intentions are. So the world runs by intentions and desires. So our intentions, accordingly, when our intentions and our desires become strong towards something, the universe starts working around that, and we keep manifesting, because we are energy, we are living in energy, and the Lord is energy as well. Lord has different energies. So when they come in alignment, it's because of the subtle thought processes or subtle movements that's happening within us, which means the soul, the subtle body, mind, intelligence, and ego. So where are those intentions made? Where are those intentions made strong? These intentions are the intentions, the thoughts and the desires that we create every day. So this, for example, when we want to connect to someone, it is our intention to connect. So our intention should be strong. Our desires should be strong to be able to connect to Krishna. So when our desires are leading to connections with Krishna, then the higher taste develops. And the desire, like it's the same when we desire to connect with someone in the material world itself, we approach them. So the choice is ours. We approach them. It's our choice. Similarly, when we desire, when we have the intention to connect with Krishna, we see that right now I'm not able to connect because my intention and my desire is not very strong. So where can we make our intentions? First of all, we have to take the right choices. Then with the right choice, we desire to, we can have the right desire. With the right desire, we can have the right intention. And with the right intention, we can have the right connection. When we are connected, we automatically develop higher taste, where mundane sense gratification is nowhere. So it is basically the brain wiring of our existence. When our mind actually works around this. When we want something, we become distressed if we don't get it. When we don't get it, we become frustrated. And when we're frustrated, there's anger, reactions to certain things, miseries, and whatnot. And when we, for example, this is one side, negative side. Positive side, when we get it, we become ecstatic. And what is the meaning of ecstatic for us? Means satisfaction for that little moment that we have received something. So, and again, our intentions are very interesting here, because what are our intentions basically? So real intentions actually bring real humility in us. How do they? What is that? So it's ultimately the brain wiring, as I said, that is not dovetailed towards Krishna. And as long as it is not dovetailed towards Krishna, it has to be somewhere else. Where is it? So it's towards me, because I'm only aware of myself, my needs, my situations, my distress, my anxiety, my incompetence, my incompleteness, my this, my that. So when this means we're so busy in fulfilling our my needs. So where will be the intention? The intention will be in fulfilling my desires. When the thought with the right narrative, with when the right narrative is put or fed through the lens of scriptures, um, our mind starts taking up right intentions, the intentions of purity, because Krishna can only connect with something that is pure. So intentions of purity, and that leads to the connection with Krishna. So it all depends on how we brain wire our thoughts, intentions, and actions. Intentions are important because they carry energy. And through that energy, our whole focus is towards that. For example, um, maximum of our time, the mental space time, where we put our energy to it, we start manifesting that. Manifesting is not a magic word. Manifesting is because you're working towards it, because you're for example, if a student who's to give exams, all his energies will be, I have to study this, I have to do that, this much part of my syllabus is not complete, this is complete, I'm confident, I'm not confident, etc., etc. So many things, but all his intentions are to clear the exam. So he will work towards clearing the exam. On the other hand, if somebody's intention is, I don't care whether I pass or not. So his intentions are somewhere else. So he's going to put those intentions or those energies into that somewhere else. So therefore, we lead our life according to the intentions. So it's very important how much we are self-aware of our intentions. That's where um, all the scriptural instructions come with the end of changing our intentions, those intentions that we are carrying in a very subtle form. Therefore, when we are self-aware, we become humble. We automatically become humble because we start knowing that where is my intention going. So that's where I'll pick up again my favorite verse from Shikshashtakam, Trinadapi Shunichena, Taro Reva Sahishnuna, Amani Namanadena, Kirtanya Sadahari, which means again, where is my intention? Is it towards mm, seeking for respect, etc., and all those aspects where, therefore, because I'm seeking for respect, I don't have tolerance for others. I don't have compassion for others. So the moment we start getting that intention correct in our rights or in the aligned state of our existence, that intention starts working on us. And that's where um, I beg everybody present here to help me create or help me develop the right intention so that I can also truly connect with Krishna. Um, I've got a little bit of reading from Srimad from Srila Prabhupada's readings or small conversations with others. I got this section from um, Entering the Grihastha Ashram by Devaki Devi Dasi. Mataji has been writing beautiful sections around humility, around. So this book comes from Entering the Grihastha Ashram. And marriage, he says, she says that there's two approaches. One is the materialistic approach, and the other is the spiritual approach. I'll quickly see how far I can go in this. So the materialistic approach it's very interesting to read here when she talks about soulmate. Uh, so soulmate is someone, according to the dictionary, the soulmate is someone who just gets you, and it's a connection of mind, a mutual respect, and unconditional love, and a total understanding. So here we understand that Grihasthashram, when we talk about man-woman relationship, actually our true soulmate is, in fact, no one else but Krishna. He is our soulmate. And only in this relationship with Krishna, only in this connection with Krishna, we can experience unconditional love. Otherwise, because we are in the conditioned material world, we will always, always, always experience conditioned state of experiences or conditioned state of love or respect or whatever we are looking for, whatever our intentions are towards it. So the mundane approach to marriage creates an intense expectation for sense gratification. So in conversation with Brahma Tirtha Das in Mayapur on 27 February 1972, Srila Prabhupada describes the state of modern society. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada says, therefore in the human society there is marriage, not in the animal society. But we are reducing human society gradually to animal society. We're forgetting marriage. So in Kali Yuga, there will be no marriage performance. They'll simply agree to live together, the boy and the girl, and their relationship will exist only on sexual power. If the man and women are deficient in sex life, then there is divorce. So the essence for the materialist is sense gratification. And Srimad Bhagavatam also in Canto 12 mentions about this, that when that prediction of Kali Yuga is there, that man and women will live together merely because of the superficial attraction. For example, success in business, etc. And all this will depend on deceit. Manliness, womanliness will be judged by one's expertise in sex, and a man will be known as a Brahmana just by wearing a thread. So in the materialistic culture, if people do enter marriage, it may also be for subtle satisfaction of power and control over someone else, as being wife thinks that the husband is her property, and the husband thinks that the wife is her property. Actually, we all are the properties of Krishna, and we need to let the other person do whatever they want, which brings them to Krishna happily. We are trying to imitate Krishna or the demigods by creating our own little heavenly planets and our expansions in the form of offsprings. I have my house, my garden, my furniture, my children who look just like me. And we eagerly invite over just to show off our little heavenly abode. In this way, we derive great pleasure for our senses and satisfaction of our mind and false ego. So, why are we actually satisfying our senses? So that our mind and our false ego is satisfied. Isn't it interesting? The more we satisfy our mind and our false ego, the more we'll be tied in this material world. So in this way, the requirements to fulfill the contract of sense gratification are met. They match on the level of sense enjoyment. Obviously, a wealthy or beautiful person may be embarrassed to marry an uneducated and poor person, even though of good character. So internal qualities don't count as much. They may even feel ashamed to show himself with such a person in public or talk about them, since it will not be satisfying the false ego and reputation of our own within the society. This is so fascinating to hear by Srila Prabhupada. So in one of the wedding ceremony, Srila Prabhupada once explains that Srila Prabhupada speaks that we come here back to the kind of concession where Srila Prabhupada speaks of a sort of license for sense gratification. So in order to give them, Srila Prabhupada is talking here. So in order to give them facility for acquiring this highest goal of life, we have introduced the marriage. The marriage system is there also according to our Vaishnava Smriti. Smriti means regulative, the law book and the statute book. Married life is there. We are preaching the cult of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He also married. All the 5 associates of Lord Chaitanya, they also married. Krishna also married. So marriage is not bad. Marriage is, it is not that unless one becomes a sannyasi or a strict brahmachari, he cannot attain the highest perfection of life. No. Even in married life, one has to adjust it. Married life means not sex enjoyment. It is not a license for sex enjoyment, although it is some sort of license, but it can be utilized. It can be utilized for producing children, and at least one should be satisfied. The husband will help the wife will help the husband advancing in Krishna consciousness for the benefit of their own country, for the benefit of the total human society. So, Srila Prabhupada clearly illustrates the goal of family life as an ashram to assist each other. If that assistance is not there, there's no benefit. So, it's a very practical arrangement basically to bring stability and harmony in life. So, again, coming back to that intention, how important that intention becomes in understanding. And then once our intentions are in clear channel, we know where our sense enjoyment is towards and what attracts us. So with this, I would like to stop. If there's any question or anything or any comments or any corrections, please feel free to say that. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Srila
Krishna Mataji, Dandot Pranam.
Danvat Pranam Prabhu.
Thank you so much for bringing up the or extracting the real point from the family life and describing the Griyamedi and Grihastha life, how important they are, and only the differences of Griyamedi and Grihastha. One, and it is a matter of direction. In what direction the life is moving. And from there we can understand the Grihastha status of life and Grihastha life. But Shastra explains us and give instruction. Even being in the Grihastha line, we can achieve the goal of life. It's a matter of using the senses in the right perspective. As you mentioned, the very two words is the intention and desires. They are two friends. To make them soulmate, as described from the Devaki Mataji's instruction and his her um, perception, it is they are actually soulmate. They need to be together to work for one mission. One they unite and work for one destination. Things will be very, very positive and fruitful. Only difference is that because they run in different direction, that's where the problem comes around. As you talked about the soulmate, that is what actually soulmate comes out. In the family life also, the life can be very, very useful. Only thing when the intention and desires are in the right direction. Just like tuning a radio, there are so many stations around the world, but you need to tune it with the right hertz so that you can get that station, and that station is nothing but the spiritual station. If you tune it properly with the right consciousness of direction, sorry, intention and desires, it is possible to get Krishna in our life. And that is
Yeah.
what the text is talking about. Being
Mm.
in that guest life also, we can be very usefully utilize our life in serving the Lord. And that's why the Shastra said, Pratyahara, we have the senses, we have the desire, but how we manage the desires in the right consciousness is the cultivation of knowledge in the spiritual life. If we can maintain that, we can easily achieve the goal of life. Thank you
Mm.
so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhu. Often, following up on your comment, often what happens, there is a lot of should with us. Um, Krishna has given us a lot of shoulds, but he's not forcing us. So if Krishna is so compassionate, uh, he's not he's not after our forced love. So similarly, in a Grihastha ashram also, we can't force each other to be connected to Krishna,
Mm,
or to be connected, or we can't judge each other, because in family life the problems come because we understand things in a very superficial way. So as
yes,
we understand things on a superficial level, we start the first thing that we do is we judge each other a lot. In
yes,
that process of judgment, the one who is taking, because all of us have our own skills and all of us have our own intentions, own desires, it's never two, it's always one. Even if in this life there is a family and there's this husband and wife and children, and everybody is Krishna conscious, does not mean that everybody has to interfere in each and everybody's services. For example, if
mm,
um, uh, I don't, if my inclination is not towards that service, I don't have to follow my husband towards, So my service, my inclination, my intentions, and my ways of service is different as compared to my partner's way of service or my children's ways of service. So similarly, the environment has to be very voluntary and uh, compassionate environment. Only then can we grow in Krishna consciousness properly. Otherwise, it becomes an obligation, and obligation is pretty much superficial.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's very correct. Yeah, it is a matter of understanding all over. Yeah,
Yeah.
you should not poke to other service, but we can advise and get advice.
Yeah.
That is what needs to be. Because if we interfere others' intention, though it may not align with our intention, it doesn't mean that that one is not good enough.
Yes.
Because
So
it
so
is the
often we
choices.
commit this
Yes.
judgmental approach. We give that judgmental
Mm,
approach that, oh, this person doesn't do anything. I do all the work. I do all the
mm,
services. So this brings that pride and all those
yes,
things, in our, so the intention gets totally misaligned with
yes,
bringing
yes.
Krishna in the center of our household.
Mm. Then again, it comes up me and mine. That's
Yes.
again comes up. So
It's
in
very
all around,
interesting.
is a problem of me and mine.
Yes, it's very
Yeah.
interesting to see the word intention around, like, why am I actually forcing someone? Is it for my
Mm,
own benefit or my
mm,
own pride or my own power or like what? So this way, if Krishna was to do this, it is very easy for him to bring us back to Godhead,
yeah,
and we can create a lot of chaos there. But Krishna wants us there in full, um, with full intention and voluntary wish that, yes, I really want to go back. Even if I have a very intense desire, I'll be tested, because Krishna does not want anything without love. And
yeah,
love
that is
comes when there's a open heart and compassion for each other.
yeah, right. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Hare
Prabhu.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, if there's no one, we can finish this session.
Yeah, we can
Okay.
finish it now. Bancha
Bye.
kalpatarubhyasya kripa
कृष्ण
sindhuvaiva
वैष्णव पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
vaishnavavyo
वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः
Anant
अनंत
Koti
कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय हर
Gaur
कृष्ण
Grace
राधा
Mataji
पद्म माता
की
जी की
जय,
जय शिला
Gaur Grace
प्रभुपाद
Mataji
की
की
जय
जय, Hare
गौर
Krishna,
प्रेमानंदे
Hare
हरि
Hare
हरि
Bol.
गौरेश समझ
all bliss
हरे
to the
कृष्ण थैंक
somebody
यू
else.
माता जी फॉर
Hare
योर नाइस
Krishna.
क्लास
Thank you,
वी
Mataji.
हैव लाइफ
Hare Krishna, have
हरे
a lovely
कृष्ण
day, everyone. Hare Krishna.
थैंक यू